Hello, everyone. Welcome back to this part of the React.js tutorial. On this one, we're going to take a look on how we're going to be handling events. We all know that events took a bigger part in web development, and we're going to handle or going to see how that's going to be just handled in React. So let's take the title over here, just so that we have like a good vibe on that, and handling events in React. So a very quick reminder on this one is an event is the user action, and most of the time, a user action that's going to be happening on the page, and the page is going to respond towards that one. A click is one event, typing or just typing on a keyboard is another event, page load is another event. We have like so many of them out there. Now the question is, how do we work on handling those kinds of events in React? We have started to take a look on click event just for the showing of like the previous videos, but on this one, we're going to dive into a little bit more and also on the upcoming videos as well. So we're going to take a very simple approach. I'm going to add like a button and button here, click to see the effect. And we're going to have like a very simple button over here. I'm going to click on that one, and probably for this purpose, we're going to just simply log it on a console, not here, but on a console. So we don't need this one. So on a console, now what we need is we need to have like a corresponding event handler, which is going to be just clicking. We're going to click on that one, and we're going to take a look what we have been logging when we are clicking on that button. The way we do it is very familiar, and anyone who has been developing on HTML and then doing like the inline event handler, that is what the React.js team has followed. And here we can say like on click. And remember, like on the previous HTML part, we're going to say just simply on click, and we're going to have it like the name of the function is going to be just over here. Pretty much the same approach over here, except the fact that we're going to use again the camel case. So on click is going to be just over here. On key press or any of like the event handlers that they are compatible in React as well. The only thing is you have to keep up with making them like the like with the camel case. So for this, by now we might be familiar with this one. So we can say this, let's say button handler. And the button handler is not yet defined, so that's why we're going to be just defining it over here. So I can say there are two ways to define the function. The ES6 way is one, and the older version of like using the function is another one. So let's start from the previous one, and I'm going to say like button handler, and I'm going to say console.log button clicked now. So if I go back over here and then click on this one, then you're going to see the corresponding effect, which is button clicked now. So very straightforward on this one. So we're going to have like the on click, this button handler, and then this button handler is going to be just called. And as a reminder, we don't need to have like this thing with the call on this one. Like if you're going to do that one, then you don't see anything because you have already called the function. We don't want to call the function on this one. We just want to associate with it, and then like the rest is going to proceed without having any problem. Now on this one, I want to make some note in that if you are going to be just using like the older way of like declaring a function, then there is a little bit of a work that we have to do. So let's start from a constructor just to show you like the point. Let me do a constructor, and inside the constructor, let me have like this that let's say page title, title equals event handlers. Let's have this one, and what we want to do is right next to this, actually, let's change this one a little bit. We are on, and we're going to say this that page title and page. So let's make it like a very simple one. So whenever we are clicking, then it's going to come here and it's going to tell us this one. So let's, we are still having problem. Let's go, because this one, we are having like a constructor and then we are extending. So it is required to call the super. So actually on a class, then we're going to be having a props. So we're going to be just passing a props as well. And that should take care of it. And this is from the previous one. So if I'm clicking on this one, then you're going to see that there is going to be a problem. Cannot read the property page type of undefined. So the page type over here is complaining that this is not known. What it means is the button handler doesn't know what this stands for. We know like this is going to be just the object, which is representing the current class, but the button handler doesn't know about it. That is what I mean by if we are going with the older way of like creating a function, then we have like one more task to do and we need to bind that one. The way we do it is we're going to say button handler equals this button handler dot bind, and we're going to say like this, so this and that should take care of like the problem. So if I click on this one, then we are on event handlers page, and remember like event handlers is the page title that we're having over here. You can go with the newer way of like creating a function using the AS6 and avoid that problem. If I'm using the button handler, using the newer way, which is this one, and probably I can go and copy the same thing. Just to be like on the, just to show you like we're on the newer one, we are on ES6, so that like when we are clicking, this is just a little bit different from the other one, so that we can notice, so that we know that like we're not showing like the previous one. So if I'm clicking on this one, we can see that we are on ES6 event handlers page. So in this case, I don't need to have like the binding going on, just by creating like the arrow function, we can take care of like the problem that were associated with the binding without having any problem. All right. So on this one, two things to take care are like the first thing is we can assign like for any element that we are having, we can use like the event name that we know. Like for this one, we have used like the on click, but any of like the event names that you are familiar with, the on change or the on key app or anything, then we can utilize it here, and we're going to associate like the file, I mean the function name over here. That's one point that we have to take a note. And then the other one is depending on which way we are going to be just using the function, which is going to be responsible for handling our event, then we may have to bind the this into that one. If you are using the older way of like creating a function, or if you are using the AS6, then you don't need to do that one. All right. So this is the very first part of like working with the event. We have covered on how the click event works and how we're going to have like the associated functions. On the upcoming videos, we're going to see like the rest of the ways of handling events, especially like how are we going to accept data from the user and utilize it on our component. So for that, I'm going to see you on the next video. Thank you for your attention and see ya.